Hey, what a dope baby bear. What a dope baby bear. This is a quick review on Apdo's gameplay. He's been playing like a shit ton of games and he just uploads them on his YouTube. And if you take the time to watch them, especially the early game, you will legit learn so much about the game as I did. So this is just a review specifically of his early and mid game. Before we crack into it, there's two things that I want to say. I want to point you to a mid-beast video because that dude did a really good breakdown of one of his gameplays as well, like a couple months ago or some shit. And I also did another one of Apdo's reviews as well that I'll link in the description that you should have a look at as well. But for now, just sit back. This is going to be like a more of a analytical type video where I'm just going to talk shit over the top of the video, explaining to you exactly what he does, his thought process and all that stuff, because it's super simple to see. Especially, like, I checked out the, how do I turn this down? I checked out the, translation of, like, a ton of his videos, in his tutorials, and it's legit so good, like, how he talks and shit. So he sucks already. Jokes. So he's shit. The thing that you'll notice, okay, about Apdo is that I'm just gonna pause it here. Is that he is so calculative. It is so freaking calculative. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. When you think of a good player like Apdo or Fake or these Korean players, when you think the reason why they're so good, the majority of you, I think, this is just my assumption, is that you think they're good because of their mechanics, because that's exactly what I thought. I think the reason why these dudes are so good is because they're fucking amazing, and they outplay their enemies mechanically. And then I watched one of Apto's videos, and he said he was playing against this Katarina, and he just dicked the Katarina. Like, he just played really smart. And then towards the mid-game, he was like, if you look at both of us, we are the same mechanically. We have the same mechanics, like we're both as good as each other. So why did I completely body this dude? Why did I school him? It's because my understanding of wave management and lane management and roaming and shit. All I had to do, he said all I had to do was farm and play safe early game, and then I let my champion work its power spike, which is exactly what you're gonna see him do. The reason why he's trading now is because he's in his minions. See, and then the minions turn on him. So rather than just getting completely dicked and getting no trade-off at all, he can fight within his minions, and early minion game damage does so fucking much, it's ridiculous. He's gonna zone this next year, see? Zone. So you see like little stuff like that, like every time he goes, like Togia goes for a creep, he'll try and get a Q-dub combo off on him. Same thing. See? He tries to do it, but he missed because he's lagging. Look, 0 MS. Wait, what does it say? Is that legit 0? Wait, no, FPS 19. I don't understand. Maybe he's pushing this so I can go back. Okay, no. So he realized that the wave was pushing, and as a mid laner, especially Orianna, you don't want to die early game, because if you die early game, your power spike is particularly late game, and the earlier that you die, you're just pushing it back. You're just pushing your power spike back. So he wants to play super safe in the early game, and if the wave was right here, or maybe even like over here, that means that Orianna would have to come up in this vicinity right here to farm, and that means that he's susceptible to ganks from Sejuani. Okay, so the reason that's why he did what he just did is that he heavy pushed the wave so that it can hit the turret and it can bounce back into the middle, and then he's safer from Sej ganks. Okay, but now he's pushing it again, so I'm not sure why he's pushing it again right now. Maybe he actually does want to go back to base. Oh, but to be fair, yeah, no, he's good. Like, he's good. He is pushing the thing, but he has a ward right here, if you can see it. over here. And that's why he's playing, like you'll see him playing towards this side, right here. Because he's got the ward there, and then if he sees Sejuani, he just runs this way. And if Sejuani comes from over here, then he just runs that way, towards Maokai. So at this particular point, he can afford to play. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. Look at the damage, bro. Orianna is legit so scucks. I want to suck her off. If she had a dick, I'll give her a blowjob. See? Now he comes. Sejuani's over here. See? So he can, now he's positioning differently. He's Gucci. And another reason why he's using, like, he has no problem with using his mana and shit is because he runs, what's that one where you have, like, in the middle tree, I'm so bad at this type of stuff, at the minutia, in the middle tree, where, you know, you have the two masteries or whatever, jokes, you have the one on the left, which is, like, 40, like, increased damage by 3% if the champion's health is less than 40, and then on the right you have the mana one, where you get, your mana regen goes up based on how much money you're missing. He runs 5 points on the mana missing one, and I started doing it, and it's legit so gangster. Because you don't necessarily need all that damage, or the 3% damage or whatever, because you're Orianna, because you're already going to scale well. Let's see what he does. Yeah, you're already going to scale well. You don't necessarily need more damage, so instead you can just get the mana points one, and you can be more, you know, you don't have to use your mana so sparingly. You can just use it willy-nilly type shit. He's gonna push this. Talia misses. Okay, let's skip this shit. I don't want to watch this. Where the fuck's my water? What? Oh, here it is. You see, it's 5 minutes in, and he hasn't tried to go for any solo kills or any of that shit. And I used to do that all the time. This is what changed my game so much, is that I stopped playing so aggressive. Because in Challenger, you can't do that shit. You can't just mechanically outplay the other person. You have to use wave management, you have to work with your jungle, and you have to let the champions do its power spike. Because at that particular point, your mechanics can only do so much. So what does he do when he pushes it? Does he harass under... Oh, sorry. Another point is that he's running movement speed quints. He runs either movement speed quints rather than AP quints, dependent on, you know, who he's versing. So if he's versing someone like Corki or Talia where he has to dodge skill shots, he'll run movement speed quints. And that is another reason as to why he got the boots, so he can just like go like this. And then pretty much Talia's like can't hit a Q at all. Let's see what it does. So fight's happening. Is that up? Is that a bottom? Oh yeah, nice little chest. Easy. Now it's like honestly pretty much GG from this point. That might sound stupid. You might be like, what the fuck? Danny, it's only thing minutes in. They know, the Korean people know how to snowball off this lead. That is, unless they throw somehow, unless the ADC decides to like, all of a sudden, like, have Down syndrome or some shit. Unless he decides to just go full retard. And see, now he's just trying to, just typical shit, just trying to push the wave so that Talia misses this wave here and the next wave. So we'll count it, okay? We'll count how much CS she misses. So she missed the cannon. Okay, we're gonna count it. No, we're gonna count it. But I guarantee you, like Talia's missing all this wave here, and that's how you get those little advantages. See, and he runs. He gets tier 2 boots quickly for the movement speed as well. He's He's got a pink. Oh, it'll be interesting to see where he puts it. So what I suspect, I can't speak English, is that he's just, now that he's got the lead, he's just going to poke, same thing, poke with his Q dub, stay back, and then if there's the opportunity to kill, he's going to go for it. But he doesn't have to. He can just match Togia if he roams when she tries to roam. Did I just mute it? Yeah, I did. Then he can just counter match it, counter roam, or whatever. And then if they get a fight off that, want to fight off that, then it's pretty much GG. GGizzle. Get to miss. Where's she going? She's going bottle top. I think he's playing so back because he doesn't know where Sejuani is. And if he gets... He's got no flash. Orianna has no flash, so if Sejuani gets the ulti, she's pretty much dead. Orianna's pretty much dead. So he's just going to play safe when Maokai's not close and when she has a feeling that Sejuani's there. Yeah, so they're going to gank top, but to be honest, it's not even that bad. Like, if they get a counter match, either she gets damage on mid or they get... The only reason why it would be 100% bad is if they get the turret. But, see, look, they're making a play on the other side now. So you get the turrets first. Oh, okay, top turret. But bot will still get turret, just completely fine. And if Varus is able to like start roaming, because he's snowballing, it'll be 100% worth. Got him. No, perfect. Bro, it's legit so cold here. Like, my balls are like prunes right now. Okay, so let's recap everything that we're doing, that we've talked about. Okay, can I bring up a notepad? Yeah, let's do that. Is that it's CSing is key. And I always talk about these notes. These ones that I've talked about, I just forget them sometimes. Trade when it's advantageous for you. So sometimes he'll dodge the Q, and then he has the long enough range that he can put the ball on the bitch and just bop her, and then just dodge the Q. Also, when she came into CS, she would, Orianna or Apdo would, you know, try and get some more harassment as well. In the roam. So he was ready for this roam over here. You know, little stuff, other stuff as well, like playing to the side of lane with wards. So he played over this side because he had a ward over here. And playing safe when you need to. Playing safe when you need. Everything that he's doing is calculative. There is no risk. There's none at all. There's no risk with this type of shit. And that's why he wasn't necessarily known as a mechanical player like Faker is. He's more he's like a scientist type shit. Like, it's such a strategic approach. It's so it's stand back and being like, okay, weighing up the variables and knowing how to play at a particular instance. Like, for example, he's playing super safe, passive early game, and then he knows that Orianna scales late game. And he just has to wait for that power spike. All he has to do is not die. Similar to Cassidy, he just has to not die early game, and then hopefully reach the point, if the other ones don't feed, that he can just carry. He can just get a mean ulti off late game and all that other shit. I think he's just skeptical to go. Yeah, there it is, yeah. We can still give a fucking bot to. Nice. He's there, but yeah. Varus is going off his nut, so he just... I'm actually curious to see, like, if they win this or not. All they have to do now, like, that they have the lead going, is group, and get these turrets. Get the snowball going again. They took bottom turret. start taking these ones, get dragon control again, rinse and repeat, go back to base, and then get these ones, go back, dragon control, blah blah blah. I think he's just gonna push this and then go back, because if he stays like this for too long, he's just gonna get dicked. Yeah. And then after this, he gets Luden's Echo because, well, he generally gets Luden's Echo because it's a relatively like cheap item, like in regards to items that include this, the needlessly large rod. It's a relatively cheap item. It's a good power spike, but also gives you movement speed, which goes well with his tier 2 boots and his movement sequence. So he's just like fast as fuck. Okay, so these are the notes for the early game. Okay, just play super safe and let the champion scaling work its magic. Okay, same thing with Kassadin. You don't play Kassadin the same way you play a Lee Sin. Lee Sin's heavily early game, you can go make plays. But then if you try to do that with Kassadin, you'll just get dicked because his power spike isn't early game. It's like, for example, LeBlanc. LeBlanc has a good early game, she can trade really well. And mid game, but late game she starts to fall off because her team fighting ability isn't as good as Orianna's. So, what do? So, if you're playing LeBlanc, you can play a little bit more aggressive early and mid game. Because that's the context of the champion. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. I hope I'm just talking shit. 304. I kind of want to see how they play a team fight. Because you know what to do now. I hope you know what to do now. It's simple shit. Take the turrets. Force fights when it's advantageous for you. Let the scaling work. It's magic. Don't do anything too risky. Be super calculative. I'm just trying to find the team fight. Yeah, that's the only one that they have to worry about is this bitch. Which could be a problem. But, I think if he just gets Void Staff and he has the soul. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I thought he was gonna ulti as well, but he just missed it because he sucks. No, just. I just want to watch the team fight. Like if they kill Jax, it's GG. That's pretty much it. No, he's getting Void Staff now to try and, because obviously they're building MR. Boom, boom, boom. So it makes sense to get Void Staff to get Magic Pen. Okay, let's see what he does. Jax is top. So I think they're trying to force something there. And the itemization, like, make sure you understand that as well. Is super good. Morello's a good early game power spike, item spike, whatever. Luden's is also good. It's relatively cheap for what it offers, and it stacks with his movement speed. And then you went into Void Staff because these guys have treads, that one, and then Banshees. So the Void Staff to counter the magic resistance that they're building. If they weren't building magic resistance, you could go like Ravenants. I legit love that so much because the enemy team doesn't expect it. If you go like double Dorans, Magic Pen Boots, Morel, and Omicron, and then straight into Death Cap, and they're not building magic resistance, it's the power spike, it's fucking ridiculous. With that being said, it does take a lot, like, because obviously Ravenous is way more expensive than the Batters. Or did they get dicked? They could still lose this game. Just Jax. Oh no, Jax is dead. Oh, he got it. What a bitch. Let's see how it goes in the fight. And then team fight's simple. Super simple as well. Just stay at the back. If you're a carry, stay at the back and hit the person in front of you. Let your frontliners stand in front. Nice. Nice. Can't believe they got it. Well, at least they killed everyone. See, now he's going to his death cap. I'm just gonna see what happens at the end. Yeah, they win. So, the things that you need to remember, how long is this? 20 minutes long. The things that you need to remember is that, and I've said this like a billion times, okay? League of Legends, there is so much, like, if you know how to play the early game, it has a snowball effect onto the mid game and onto the late game. How can I compare this? It's like this. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Hold up. No, it doesn't make sense. How can I compare it? Snowball effect. Yeah, it's kind of like this. Let's say you're trying to be healthy, right? And you like just eat like a shit ton of unhealthy food. And you look at it and it's like, well, it's not too bad. You know, it's like, I hope this makes sense. It's not too bad. It's just a little bit of unhealthy food. But then that has a snowball effect. Is that you start feeling lethargic, and then maybe you don't want to do any work. And then you start feeling lethargic, and then maybe you're like, okay, nah, I don't want to train anymore because I feel like shit. And then it gets worse because you're like, okay, I already ate like a Big Mac in a Big Mac combo. I might as well eat all this other stuff. So it has a snowball effect. So you have to be really careful of the decisions you make from the get-go, from the beginning. Same thing with this. Okay. Just play safe early game. If you have a late game scaling comp, okay, just play safe. Be super stand back, okay? Get out of like the fact that you have to outplay the enemy and shit, and just play calculatively, and approach the game like that. Also, go make some gains. Jokes. I just like get naked. Nah, cam girl. Nah, jokes. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you check out the other two videos if you like this one that I've linked in the description. And if I didn't link them, sorry, because my memory is shit. Chuck any comments below if you want to ask any questions. Follow my Twitch channel. If you don't follow my Twitch channel, fuck you. Jokes. Have a good day. I love you. Stay beautiful. Shout out, docs.